Graham Gano will kick it away. The Chargers have won the toss, and here we go. A beautiful January day in Southern California, and there's Darren Sproles. And he takes a shot at about the 23-yard line. First and 10 for Phillip Rivers. Movement early, ball on the ground, they'll stop it. Our referee, Jeff Triplett, with an early call.
Number 62 of the offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
The quick throw, Craig Davis, seeing the first action all year. He's been inactive, nothing to do with injuries. He's just got some pretty good players in front of him. He gets the call, and with a nice 9-yard gain. But here's the man of the hour of the year here in San Diego, Phillip Rivers, over 4,100 yards, passing a career high. Second in the NFL to Drew Brees with a 104.5 quarterback rating, John.
Yeah, and I think most importantly, during this 10-game winning streak that they're on, he is the #1 rated passer in the NFL. You have to be playing your best football going into the playoffs, and Phillip Rivers is certainly doing that.
A 2nd and 6, throw across the middle. He's got Floyd, and Floyd across midfield. John, you talked about Malcolm Floyd. I don't want to call him a sleeper, but he's definitely a guy who has complimented Vincent Jackson very well. LaDainian Tomlinson hasn't had a 100-yard rushing day in 21 straight games, but yet he told us, I will do whatever I have to do to get this team to Miami in February. He tries the left side. Not a lot there. That's Carlos Rogers with the play coming off after the 25-yarder to Floyd. Going on the other side of the ball. The Washington Redskins defense, they'll be without Hainsworth. He's been bothered by the hip. Maybe it's a little bit more than that. We might get into that a little later on, John. Arakpo, the rookie, going to his first Pro Bowl. He's had a nice year. You'll see Fred Smoot will play at the strong safety spot today. LaRon Landry, as well as Dowdy. Dowdy is down for the year. 2nd and 10, the dump off to Tomlinson, and look at LT. LT's got a first down as he works inside the 35-yard line.
Now, Ron, you talk to everybody with the Chargers and you study the last couple games. Everybody wants to talk the perception that maybe he's lost something. And yes, maybe he has lost something. But remember, this is one of the great players in the history of this league. And his 90%, I think, is better than most of the league. and the thing he has right now, and he'll tell you, is fresh legs going into these playoffs. He bought into the plan of a reduced role, and he's thankful right now because he feels like he's ready to explode in these playoffs. And I really believe to be successful in the playoffs, yes, it's a passing league, but you better be able to run the football. LT being healthy certainly bodes well for these Chargers.
Sproles checks in, play action to Sproles. And it's incomplete. Fletcher is there on the coverage. Thought it was interesting what Rivers told us about going through his film study last year. He went through and looked through every single pass incompletion, and he said, most of my incompletions, a lot of them came on the 5-yard, 4-yard routes, dump-off routes to the running backs.
Yeah, he said, first of all, studying your incompletions, not the biggest confident booster in the world, but he's got plenty of confidence. He studied that. He worked on it himself. He felt like he missed some. He worked on it with the backs in terms of running crisper routes, and they feel like it's paid great dividends this year.
4 passes, 1 run thus far for the Chargers. Pressure. Rivers steps up. That's high. And it's intercepted. Smoot. No, it's incomplete. Smoot had about 3 chances for it, but couldn't hold on.
You see Phillip Rivers going on the seam route to Antonio Gates, and he figures we got a corner playing safety, we're going to pick on him. Fred Smoot, usually very sure-handed, probably playing a new position, not used to that perspective, but you got to catch that football if you're Fred Smoot.
Smoot, a 9-year veteran out of Mississippi State. His second stint with the Redskins, originally drafted here with the Redskins in 01. Dump down, that's Tomlinson. He's got some room. Nice open field tackle. Going to the other side of the field, that's D'Angelo Hall. And he shuts him down. It'll force a field goal attempt for the Chargers, a pickup of 2.
You mentioned D'Angelo Hall on the tackle. I think one thing, when you sit down and study these Washington Redskins, there's a perception that everything's just everything is so far from being successful. You study this defense, all of a sudden you look at the pieces in place. D'Angelo Hall, Carlos Rogers, LaRon Landry at the safety position, Hainsworth, they are very, very talented.
And that's Kading from 47 yards out. Cartwright along with Marcus Mason back deep. This will be Cartwright inside the 5. Boy, he stopped already. Play action, quick throw, and it's dropped by a guy who's been very sure-handed. 2nd and 10 run. Ganther trying to turn the corner. Gets it just past the line of scrimmage, a pickup of 1. And a look at the Redskins up front. They'll go with Jones, Dockery, Roebuck. Edwin Williams represents the 7th different starting right guard. And Stephon Heyer will round out the right tackle spot. Ganther, you just saw him. A lot of injuries across the board, especially at the running back spot. Portis along with Betts on IR. 3rd and 9. Going outside, incomplete. Intended for Randall L. Gregory on the coverage, and that'll bring up 4th down, time to punt.
This is a vastly improved San Diego defense. The first 5 games was not very good. Ron Rivera, in my mind, has done an incredible job turning this thing around. The results have shown that. We'll get into that later, but Ron Rivera doing an incredible job with the defense that lost some of their stars, and Jamal Williams and Sean Merriman being nicked throughout the year.
Great coverage on Sproles. So the Chargers will start things off. Ball at about the 40-yard line. A look at that 10-game win streak. 11 would tie a franchise record set back in the 60s. But, John, this team has come out during that streak and started very well.
They're going to jump on you. You know, I think it's interesting. You look around at the most explosive offenses in the league, and you got to put San Diego up there. I'm not sure that perception is there nationwide, but absolutely explosive.
Outside to Davis, and Davis with a nice pickup. He'll be about a yard shy of the 1st down. We already mentioned he hasn't seen any action this year. He's been inactive. He's replacing Legadou Nane, and they're expecting a lot, have expected a lot out of Davis, a former 1st-round pick out of Louisiana State. In his 3rd year, no huddle. They'll go with a 2nd and 1. Ball's not there, but plenty of time for Rivers. Finally, he gets out of the pocket and throws it away. Intended for Floyd. Andre Carter was bearing down.
You see the Chargers go to a no huddle early on. Now they're going to huddle up after the incomplete pass. But I think Norv, not only, yes, he wants to win this game. He's going to play his starters until he sees the rhythm he wants to see, and then he's going to pull him. But I think Norv wants to work on some things going into the playoffs. You also always want to be showing your opponent something, having to have them study for something as you move forward.
Turner's 3rd year as head coach with the Chargers. Made his debut, as Michelle Turner alluded to earlier, with the Redskins in '94. There's a breakout. Sproles with a 1st down, then some. Nice block by the tackle, Brandon Dombrowski. A pickup of 12.
Well, I think the play that's obvious, or the thing that's obvious on this play is this guy, Darren Sproles. But this guy, you talk about in the open, the depth of this roster. Brandon Dombrowski was a practice squad player last year playing left tackle. He's had to play guard. They moved him out to right tackle when Jerome Clary got hurt, and he has played outstanding football. That's what makes this team, as A.J. Smith said, you got to have depth that can hold the fort when guys go down. They've got depth that's playing very good football.
A.J. Smith, the general manager for the Chargers, has done an outstanding job building this team. That intended and complete to Malcolm Floyd. Hall on the coverage, a pickup of 12 again.
And you talk about depth, then you also talk about weapons, and they've got weapons. Today you don't see Vincent Jackson, but when you look at this passing game and you see Antonio Gates, you see Vincent Jackson, you see Malcolm Floyd, I mean, this is the guy that jumped out at me. I knew about Vincent Jackson. Malcolm Floyd, I mean, this guy, Norv Turner said he's a guy who was pigeonholed as a red zone and fade guy. Charlie Joyner, he credits the receiver coach, the great Charger, with really developing Malcolm Floyd into a complete player.
Rivers going deep down the middle of the field, intended for Gates. The crowd wants a flag. They won't get it. D'Angelo Hall in on the coverage. He was tripped up.
And they really shouldn't get it, and that's exactly why. That's incidental foot contact, and they shouldn't call. Sometimes they do, because you know this league favors the offense, but there's a couple XDBs in particular, but that's just incidental contact. And you know, again though, Phillip Rivers, this guy is going to attack all the time. He wants to take the ball downfield, and they've been more explosive in the pass game than anybody in this league.
A look at the play selection. The Redskins, solid this year in the pass department, number 5 in the NFL in pass defense. That should be a first down. Let's see where they mark it. He stretched forward. That's Malcolm Floyd working on Carlos Rogers.
You want to talk about Phillip Rivers and what makes him special. First of all, he's so cerebral. Second of all, look at the ball placement on this. The corner's inside. You place the ball the only place it can be, on the outside shoulder. Those are the little things that people don't see, and that's what makes a quarterback special. That's what makes a quarterback great. Some guys can throw that curl, but very few can hit the placement every time exactly where they want, and Phillip Rivers has done that consistently throughout this year.
3rd down and 1. Play clock running low. Rivers sees it and has to call timeout.
San Diego.
3rd and 1. No give. They'll throw. A man is wide open. That's Gates. And he can't get it to him. So the Chargers on the season going for it here on 4th down. They're 4 of 9. The quick throw. Thrown, caught, catch, and a first down. Just a simple slant there by Floyd. It almost looked like Rivers wasn't going to make it, like the ball wasn't going to get there.
Well, what you have there, you have a situation, as you do see the catch by Malcolm Floyd, where they're going to load the box. North Turner said, listen, there was a day, he throws that thing 2 hands out there. But there was a day where we were going to run LaDainian Tomlinson regardless of what you did. You stacked the box with 10, we were going to run LT. Nowadays, they feel like they're talented enough that if they stack the box, we're going to beat you with someone else, and Malcolm Floyd's a big part of that.
John, did you see the way he threw that ball?
I did.
They talk about the way Brett Favre does some things. Well, that was a nice shot put by Rivers. LT trying the left side. Not much.
You look at the red zone defense for these Washington Redskins, number 1 in the NFL in red zone efficiency. Throughout a very tough year, these guys have played at a high level. They've played with a lot of pride, and there's a lot of talent. You know, if there's a lot of conjecture that there may be a new coach. The new coach is not coming into a bare deal with these guys. There is some talent on this defense that play at a very high level.
That was a quick look at the defensive coordinator, Greg Blosh. 2nd and 9. Another throw. Incomplete, intended for Floyd. Nice job by D'Angelo Hall. He's all over Floyd.
And Andre Carter on the rush right there. Andre Carter, you talk to these Washington Redskins, Jim Zorn and London Fletcher. Yeah, they're proud of the rookie, Brian Arapko, with making the Pro Bowl, but they say, listen, Andre Carter is the MVP of this defense. He has played at a consistently high level, rushing the passer, playing the run. He's had an outstanding year.
This will bring up a 3rd and 9. Sproles checks in. They'll go from the gun. Rivers. Corner of the end zone. It's caught. Is he in? Yes. Touchdown, Gates. That's his 8th of the season.
Okay. And we saw earlier Phillip Rivers missing Antonio Gates on a little corner route. He's not going to miss that many times. And North Turner dialing up plays. One thing he does so well, he works both sides of the field, and he puts very dynamic players on the same side of the field. Right there, Carlos Rogers, the right corner, jumped Darren Sproles in the flat. That leaves Antonio Gates wide open. It's pick your poison. Who do you want to cover? They've got so many weapons.
And the extra point is through. Rivers now with a touchdown pass in 13 consecutive games. And as we said about making his case for an MVP, he told us the other day from sideline to sideline, John, and you've already echoed this sentiment, this is the most complete Charger team that he's been on.
Well, and that's the thing you get so impressed with, talking to Coach Turner, talking to Phillip, is that this really is a team. This has always been a star-studded organization, but the depth of the roster, there were holes in the roster. They feel they've eliminated those, and that is very exciting for them going into the playoffs.
Cartwright with a breakout, almost broke it down the sideline. The quick throw to Malcolm Kelly, and Kelly brought down quickly. Antonio Cromartie, who made the Pro Bowl as an alternate this year. He limits the gain to 2. He told us the other day when this team went 14-2 back in 2006, he said that game against New England, the game they lost here at home, said maybe that game was a little too big for us. We had a lot of guys on the roster that weren't ready for primetime playoff pressure.
Yeah, and that's a lot for a young quarterback to admit that. You see Ganther going up the middle. But that's a big step to admit that, and now that's the thing, they're so excited. They're battle tested. The playoffs are not going to phase this team. They've got so many guys who've been there before, and they really think that will pay dividends, and we'll see.
A pickup of 9 by Ganther, and there you see the Pro Bowl selection for the Chargers. Kasim Osgood, he continues to go. This is his 3rd year in the special teams vein. Steve Gregory, 28, threatening blitz. He started today for the injured Eric Weddle. 1st and 10, they'll throw it. Kelly again, Kelly with a nice game. He'll be about 3 or 4 yards shy of the first, working on Cromartie.
You see Antonio Cromartie there, keeping the ball in front of him. That's one thing that Jason Campbell said that this defense does incredibly well. They don't give up the big play. Antonio Cromartie, when you watched him early in his career, he was always gambling, he was guessing, he was up in your face. Now he's learned from Quentin Jammer, he's learned from his DB coach and his corner coach, Chris Dishman. It's not a bad thing to keep the ball, make a tackle, live to see another down.
2nd down run again to Ganther. Oliver up with the tackle.
Jason Campbell said of this San Diego Chargers defense, it's a very sound defense. They don't give you a lot of looks, but what they do it well. Their corners keep the ball in front, they rally and tackle, and you must exhibit patience as a quarterback because they aren't going to give you the throws downfield. So sometimes you got to do the dink and dunk, as you see defensive coordinator Ron Rivera, who, as I mentioned earlier, I think has done an outstanding job.
His name has been tossed out. Maybe that job up in Buffalo, a hit in the backfield. That's Steve Gregory. We talked about him a few plays ago. A loss of 4. 2nd and long. The crosser, it's clean. That's Santana Moss. And Moss, the leading receiver, will have an easy 1st down as he gets out of bounds. And Moss is one guy that Coach Zorn said of the guys that have been positive this year and guys that haven't quit. He named Davis and he named that man Moss.
Yeah, exactly. We asked him in the midst of all the distractions, all the injuries, who's a guy who's really stood out, and he said Santana Moss, what a pro. The way this guy competes, he's an explosive player. He's been doing it for a long time, but I think he might have done it better this year than ever before.
The Redskins and a 2 tight end look. Sellers comes back into his fullback spot. Play is stopped as they hand it off to Ganther. A couple miscues today by Davis, 2nd-year man out of SC. As I said earlier, has had a nice year. 5 touchdown passes in the last 5 games. But he errs there.
A lot of people very excited about Fred Davis, think this guy has Pro Bowl potential. He got his opportunity to become the starter with Chris Cooley on IR. They're very excited to get the 2 of them back and work them together. They're very strong at the tight end position moving forward.
1st and 15 after the penalty. Campbell looking outside. Intended for Kelly, and it's high.
And one of the things that Jim Zorn talked about, the frustrations with this offense this year, you know, and you look at them, they aren't as bad as you might anticipate, right in the middle of the road on most statistics. And Jason Campbell very much middle of the road in terms of his ranking and statistics. But he talked about a number of things. First of all, the offensive line being injured and not protecting great. But then when they get the protection, young receivers who sometimes err in the routes and inaccuracy by Jason Campbell.
Second and long, he's holding it, dumps it down underneath. That's complete to Ganther, and Ganther will get it just inside the 35-yard line. Zorn told us an interesting story about working with Matt Hasselbeck, of course, all those years back in Seattle when Zorn was a quarterback coach. He said, a quarterback can't be frustrated by checkdowns.
Not at all, and in particular, he said it was going to be important against this Chargers defense because that's what they force you to do, and you got to exhibit patience. You got to go through your progressions.
So many years, Matt Hasselbeck was downright frustrated whenever he couldn't push the ball vertical, get the ball way downfield. 3rd and 8. They send the blitzer, they pick it up, but Campbell under duress once again, and Redskins fans are saying, what's new? We've seen that all year long, intended for Moss, but it sails over his head.
Well, one of the things that I think is so intriguing is you see Sean Phillips right there about Ron Rivera as a defensive coordinator. You look at his background, very diverse background. He played for Buddy Ryan. He played for Buddy Ryan in that old Chicago Bears 46 defense. He coached under Jimmy Johnson, the late Jimmy Johnson, the great Jimmy Johnson, in terms of the pressure, the overloads. And then he worked under Lovie Smith, where they got into the Tampa 2 defense. And so a very diverse background that Ron Rivera brings to the table that I think makes him extremely attractive for the Buffalo Bills or anyone else as a head coach as well.
So on the 4th and 8, they will not try the long field goal. They'll bring on the punt team instead. Jeff Triplett getting some things ironed out. He gave the delay of game sign.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
So they'll move it back and try it again. Hunter Smith will come in with his second punt of the day. They'll try to kill this one inside the 10-yard line. Didn't get all of that one. The old L-wedge kick. It falls dead at the 20-yard line. As you look at Phillip Rivers, he takes the helmet off, puts the hat on, and we'll see Billy Bullock the rest of the day, most likely.
Charger fans will remember Billy Volek going into Indianapolis in the 08 playoffs and leading them to victory on the final game-winning drive.
And look what Volek does right out of the chute, and it's complete to Malcolm Floyd. And Floyd takes it down to the Redskins' 30-yard line. D'Angelo Hall on the coverage. That was for 50 big ones.
And I'm telling you, you look at this Malcolm Floyd and how impressed can you be with the guy. This guy is a complete receiver. He's getting his opportunity to shine today with Vincent Jackson out. And this is a guy that has it all. He can run the fades. He can run the skinny posts, the ins, the outs. This guy is a complete receiver. Norv Turner and these guys are so happy that they have this guy as a third receiver. Weapons all over the place.
He's got 5 catches for 102. The end around with Davis. Davis trying to turn the corner and gets rocked. Michael Bennett checks in for LaDainian Tomlinson. They'll go with Tolbert at the fullback spot. Bullock, he's already completed a big one. Tries to check it down underneath to Mike Tolbert, and it's incomplete. 16 seconds to play here in the quarter.
Ronnie, you see Tolbert coming out of the backfield there. It's one thing when you look at these San Diego Chargers, very different situation at the running back and the fullback position in front of LaDainian Tomlinson and Darren Sproles. For years, it was Lorenzo Neal, the top fullback in the league, that really established the toughness of this team and made the running game always a force. These guys aren't as dominant as run blockers, but they are more versatile. But I think moving forward, can that run game that's 29th in the league be successful in the playoffs is going to be a key. That's the one question on this offense right now for me.
John Runyon checks in at the right tackle spot, slides over Dombrowski. Here's another throw and a catch to Floyd. Floyd muscles his way through. We start the second quarter here in San Diego. Ron Pitts, John Lynch, Nichelle Turner. The Chargers got on the board with a 47-yard field goal by Nate Kading. Then Rivers to Gates, 12-yard touchdown And wholesale changes up front in the offensive line. Brandon Dombrowski moves over to left tackle. John Runyon, as I already mentioned, steps in at the right tackle spot. Hardwick is out. Dillman is out. Dennis Norman will go to the center spot for Hardwick. Whew, and let me take a breath.
Wholesale changes, to say the least. But you look at John Runyon. This is a guy, we talked to Norv Turner, this is a guy who has played a lot of playoff football. Don't be surprised come divisional round 2 of the playoffs that John Runyon's the starter, and Dombrowski has played exceptionally well, but Runyon's been there before. Again, he's not going to feel the pressure of the playoffs.
Second down. He's probably seen the last of Antonio Gates as well as they hand it off to Michael Bennett.
And back to John Runyon. This is a guy who I played against him a lot. He kind of fits the bill of this offensive line. You know, some people call him dirty, but I call it nasty. You know, there's a difference between dirty and nasty. Dirty, you're trying to hurt someone. Nasty, you play through the whistle. I've always respected the heck out of John Runyon because he plays too, sometimes through the whistle, but that's all right. That's what you want on your offensive line. They've got it with Chris Steelman. They've got it with Vasquez, the rookie. This is a tough, tough offensive line.
Runyon signed November 25th, replaces Jeremy Clary, who was put in the injured reserve list November 26th and gone for the season. A throw inside. That one has been there pretty much all first quarter. They go to Craig Davis again. Davis with some catches here early.
I think the impressive thing is you see Antonio Gates having a good seat from the sidelines, and LaDainian Tomlinson as well. Billy Volek coming in here. He's thrown one pass prior to today, and he's coming out here. He throws a deep one early. This guy's looking like he's played all year, and you got to feel good about that going into the playoffs because, God forbid, you ever lost Phillip Rivers. But they got to feel good about what they have in a backup in Billy Volek.
They'll put it on the ground. Bennett going nowhere. Nice play there in the backfield. Rocky McIntosh with 109 tackles, second on the team coming into today's game. Makes a nice play there.
And again, you keep going back to this Washington Redskins defense and why you feel good about it moving forward. You look at the linebacking core. London Fletcher, who again got snubbed on the Pro Bowl, deserving of it for sure. Brian Arapko, Rocky McIntosh. That is a talented group that's been highly productive. And moving forward, you got to feel good about that and this entire Washington defense.
A loss of 4 on the last play. They'll try it again with Bennett. Bennett moving the pile, gets it down maybe to the 6-yard line. We mentioned in the beginning of the game, Albert Hainsworth inactive today. Hainsworth has had his moments this year. He was very critical of defensive coordinator Greg Blosh and came out publicly and said, I'm not so sure if I can play within his defensive scheme. He was sent home from practice on Christmas Day after being late. So he hasn't exactly made the best impression on general manager Bruce Allen, but when he wants to go, he can make an impact. 3rd and goal. That one high, intended for Floyd, and it's out of the end zone. Floyd with 6 catches for 109 yards. That's a career high for him in the first quarter.
Yeah, he's getting his opportunity. Usually he's that 3rd option. Today he becomes the number 1. But back to Albert Hainsworth. I mean, I think to be certain, you can't say he hasn't had his impact. And I think the biggest evidence is what Phillip Rivers pointed out. Look at the guys outside. Arapko and Andre Carter with 11 sacks apiece. And Phillip Rivers made a good point. You know, you didn't see those guys outside, Kyle Vanden Bosch and those guys in Tennessee with the sack numbers that they've always had because Albert Hainsworth wasn't there attracting all the attention.
So the Chargers with a nice drive, doing it not with Rivers, but with Volek. And it's capped off with the 24-yard field goal by Kading. We've seen some changes up front offensively for the Chargers. I think we'll see more. Norv Turner said he would continue to practice his team and prepare like we were in a regular season contest with all the starters playing a lot, but we are starting to see reality, some of those starters coming out. Kading kicks it away. That's Cartwright in the corner. Picking his way. And gets out to the 25-yard line. 1st and 10. A quick throw. Let's go down to Nichelle Turner.
Well, guys, we have been talking a lot about the future of the Redskins and this team. Jim Zorn talked to us about the future of him with the team. Now, he told us that there's been so much speculation. He's heard it all, and he actually expects to know something about his future maybe tonight after the game or tomorrow at the latest. He doesn't think they're going to prolong this thing one way or another. Back to you.
Look at owner Daniel Snyder standing next to his side. New general manager, replacing Vinny Serrato, Bruce Allen. They throw that ball out quickly to Malcolm Kelly. And Jim Zorn told us last night, and we were frank about it. He was frank about it. He said, I want to be here. I've got a plan in place for the offseason, for the draft, blah, blah, blah. But, John, we have been hearing the absolute opposite across the board.
Well, we've been hearing a lot of things, and about Jim Zorn not being here, about who is going to be here. Mike Shanahan being one of those names tossed around. As we watch this third down, Jason Campbell with trip set to the right. And we'll get back to that story in a second with Mike Shanahan.
Of course, John Lynch, who played under Mike Shanahan for 4 years in Denver. That ball nearly intercepted, popped up, then caught by Antoine Randall. And as I mentioned, John, you played for Shanahan. I mean, what's your thought? What do you think Shanahan will do?
Well, I have remained friendly with Mike Shanahan. He coached me for 4 years. He brought me to Denver, and I spoke to him yesterday. And in talking to him, I would not be surprised if he ends up in Washington. I think the thing that appeals to him, and a lot of people, I think, would say why, is their owner, Daniel Snyder. I think a lot of people say with all the distractions, why, but I think as a head coach, what you want is an owner that's passionate about winning. And I think regardless of what you think about Dan Snyder and the way he's handled certain things, particularly Jim Zorn's situation, you got to say he's passionate about winning. Has he been successful in doing so? No, but he will spend the money that he needs to. He'll give you the resources. I think that's attractive to Mike Shanahan. Do I think that Mike Shanahan will be their head coach? I do. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I do think he will be the head coach. And as I said, I spoke to him. He didn't tell me any of that, but that's what my gut feeling in talking to my former coach.
Second down, that ball tipped coming out, and it's just been one of those years for the Redskins. It started off really with a win. That's when the drama started. They beat the Rams early in the year, but a lot of people didn't feel like they played very well, didn't beat the Rams by enough, beat them 9-7. And from that point on, the talk started, the rumor started regarding Jim Zorn. Changed offensive coordinator. Sherman Lewis checks in as the advisor. And not too long after that, he turns into the offensive coordinator and play caller. Campbell holding it, finally checks it off to Cartwright. Cartwright with a nice move and a first down. He's across the 50 and into Charger territory.
See Cartwright with a good move in the open field. Dante Hughes misses the tackle in the open field. Dante Hughes, a reserve. You see Sherm Lewis there. And, people want to know, is Jason Campbell the guy? I don't know if this year's a fair assessment. You've gone through all the distractions, all the injuries up front, and then you change the guy who's your play caller. And, quarterbacks get in a rhythm with their play caller. For Jason Campbell, that was Jim Zorn for the longest time. Then all of a sudden, Sherm Lewis comes in, and now you got a new guy calling it. You got a new guy in your ear telling you the play. Now, in many ways, they feel like that's cleaned up things. You see Sherman Smith there. As it goes now, Sherman Lewis up in the box, relays it down to Sherm Smith on the field, and then it goes to Jason Campbell. I don't know how that streamlines, because it used to be Jim Zorn right to Jason Campbell. He says it does.
Right.
But to say the least, he's gone through a lot as a quarterback, and to make a fair assessment on him off this year, I don't know if you're able to do so.
The blitz is brought, tipped up, then caught somehow by Santana Moss. That one good for 16 yards and a first.
Look at Santana Moss there, as we said earlier, playing at an extremely high level. And we talked about earlier Phillip Rivers and his ball placement. One knock on Jason Campbell that was supposed to be really a strength coming out of the pocket, the accuracy. It's not always there. You see Rivers place a ball right on the shoulder where he wants it. You see Jason Campbell make a guy like Santana Moss have to go up and jump and make a spectacular catch. You have to be accurate in this league at the quarterback position.
The quick throw to Kelly. Kelly with a nice move. He's looking toward the end zone. chopped up at the 10-yard line. Kevin Ellison, the 6th-round pick out of USC, comes up for the tackle. May have saved the touchdown. A pickup of 12.
Excuse me, Ron. You see Malcolm Kelly, the 2nd-round pick out of Oklahoma last year. And this, we talked about the defense, why you might be encouraged for the future. One of the things is the receiving core here. You got Malcolm Kelly, you got Devin Thomas, who has really come into his own. You have Santana Moss, who I believe is really playing at a high level. We mentioned the tight ends. There's some talent out there in at the receiver position.
He'll go to Marcus Mason. Mason has stepped in to spell Ganther. And he comes with a decent run. That'll be about 5 yards.
Back to Jason Campbell, though. I think, is he a starter in this league? Yes. Is he one of the elite guys? No. I think you can win with Jason Campbell. I think you have to play to his strengths. And to me, that's getting him out of the pocket. That's moving him. That's going play action. I think he processes information better when you do that. In the pocket, it doesn't process as quick as it needs to go, and as a result, he takes a lot of sack. He takes a big beating, and you can blame it on the injuries, but also things just don't click as fast as they need to click.
Nice 10-play drive here for the Redskins, the best of the day. The throw. It's complete to Sellers, but Sellers is denied the end zone.
Interestingly enough, one of the things they're doing right now is sustaining a long drive. That's been a challenge all year long for these guys. And you asked Jim Zorn why, he said it's a number of things. It's the offensive line not protecting. It's not being able to run the football. Clinton Portis was injured. He said that 78 reporting from Jeff Triplett. But Clinton Portis, the first 8 games, Jim Zorn told us yesterday that he practiced 4 times in those first 8 games. He was playing on Sundays.
3rd and goal, play action. He's got time. Does he have a man? Yes! Touchdown, Redskins. Todd Yoder with his 3rd touchdown of the year. And the Redskins, at the 5:16 mark here in the 2nd quarter, finally get on the board.
You watch Todd Yoder. He comes across the formation in motion, and he's just going to come across the formation in an easy throw. Again, you give him the play action, you make it an easy read. And Todd Yoder, how about this for production? 4 catches on the year, 3 touchdowns. My former teammate in Tampa, Todd Yoder.
10-year man out of Vanderbilt. Craig Davis. There's a check down. Most of the backups in, and Michael Bennett is playing like a starter. He'll ramble for the 1st down, getting just beyond the 40-yard line. And a look at Dallas there with a win. They will take care of the NFC East, but we'll have to play in a wild card game.
And as I was mentioning earlier, if Philly were to come back and win that game, they would move all the way up to the 2 seed. If Dallas wins it, Minnesota has that number 2 seed locked in, and thus New Orleans and Minnesota would be the 2 bye teams.
So 2nd down and 11. Changes on both sides of the ball. Bullock has stepped in here in the 2nd quarter. Immediately took the ball down the field. Had a big play to Malcolm Floyd. Since then, Michael Bennett has checked in. Haven't seen LaDainian Tomlinson since. May not see him the rest of the game, most likely, as well as Sproles. That one checked down to the 3rd string tight end. That's Chris Wilson, and Wilson picks up 3.
You know, and Chris Wilson is a great illustration of the depth that we've been talking about with this team. You look, Malcolm Floyd, he steps up to the 1. He's usually a 3. Chris Wilson, very productive player in this league at Kansas City. This guy's played some football. He's the number 3 tight end behind Antonio Gates. This guy, you know, this is the kind of depth that A.J. Smith has brought into this place. And again, why they're so excited moving forward. They've received contributions from so many players this year. Guys just aren't on the roster. They're contributing in a big way.
3rd down and 8. Bullock in trouble, gets out of it. The comeback, a high one. And it's incomplete. It's out of bounds. Caught by Kasem Osgood, but no good. Pushed out of bounds. And that'll bring on the punt team for the Chargers.
You see Volek escaped the rush. And Kasim Osgood, you know, this was a rule change this year. There's no force out anymore. You used to be if you were forced out, and I'm not so sure he didn't get 2 feet in there.
Right.
We'll see if Norv, there goes the challenge
the red flag goes out. But you're right, John, that's a new rule here and new point of emphasis this year. There's no more force outs. Now, they're not going to let a guy carry a man from the numbers on out of bounds on his shoulders, but you've got to make an effort to come down with both feet in spite of the defender.
San Diego is challenging the ruling on the field of an incompletion at the sideline. After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The receiver gets the ball, 1 foot down, but his hand hits out of bounds before any other mark hits the ground, so it is an incomplete pass. San Diego is charged the timeout, their second.
And again, let's take a look.
First challenge.
Kasim Osgood secures the ball. The right foot never gets down. Left foot does. And as Jeff Triplett says, I believe the backside, but he says the hand hits down. But regardless, a part of his body hit down out of bounds before that right foot eventually did come down. Good job by the referees.
So Mike Cyphers will come on with his 44-yard average on the year. Cyphers making the Pro Bowl as an alternate. A lot of people here in the San Diego area, of course, on the team felt that Cyphers could have been a starter. There's a high kick, fair catch called by Randall L. at the 12-yard line. There's a seam throw. This could go the distance. That's Malcolm Kelly. One man to catch him. Kayson's got to catch him, and he does. Ball's loose, but he's down. They mark him down at the 4-yard line.
Very, very interesting as you see Malcolm Kelly here. He's just going to run a go route. Jim Zorn told us one of the areas where we felt like we could make a play is in those seam routes. The Chargers play a lot of zone. They don't do a great job of carrying the receivers through the seam. And Jason Campbell, that's accuracy right there. And Malcolm Kelly, as we said, there's talent at this receiving corps and good execution by Jason Campbell and by Malcolm Kelly for a big game.
The longest pass play of the career of Jason Campbell. And the fumble there in the end by Kelly won't matter. He was on the ground once that elbow touches. And he's been contacted. The play is over. So they're looking at a 1st and goal. Hand it off to Ganther. Ganther pushing. And he gets down to about the 1-yard line. Vaughn Martin, the 4th-round pick out of Western Ontario, helped stop things up.
See Jason Campbell hand it to Ganther. Ganther, their 4th starting halfback this year.
Is an eligible receiver.
Yep, John, he started the last 3 games. The free agent, 2nd-year man out of Utah. Ganther again. Ganther hit the backfield. Great play by Brandon Seiler. Brandon Seiler knifed through, and he forces a loss of 2.
Watch Brandon Seiler. He's going to stack right behind his nose guard, DeRay, and then he's just going to shoot the gap, and you shoot the gap. Don't be surprised when that guy's right there, and you better make the tackle. Beautiful job by Brandon Seiler, a guy who's played very good football for this Charger defense all year long.
3rd and goal. Sullivan sets up. Play action going the backside. It's wide open. Nice execution. Touchdown Redskins. Mike Sellers with his 2nd touchdown of the season. And all of a sudden the Redskins wake up. And they're right back in this game. We're tied up.
Notice all the people in the box. What do? You don't pound your head into a wall. You go for a little play action. As I said, I think Campbell's best when you move him. Mike Sellers does a good job of faking the block down, getting out to the flat. Beautiful, accurate ball by Campbell. And here the Redskins on top, 14-13.
Redskins looked as though they had already run for the bus home after the season. take the lead by 1. 39 seconds left here in the first half. That's Craig Davis. 35 left now for Volek. And they'll keep it on the ground. The give to Sproles. Sproles with a couple tackled by Griffin.
You talk about Darren Sproles. I mean, one of the reasons that LT has less carries than any season during his career. Number one, they wanted to keep him. It was part of the plan, keep him fresh and healthy for the playoffs. Number two, this guy is a weapon. This guy is a dynamic player. They felt like they had to continue to get him on the field more, and it's paid great dividends.
He was a franchise player, meaning he's got to get a top 5 average salary of the top 5 player at his position. But he will also be a free agent at the end of the year. Another big player, impact player, that they will need to address and try to keep on this team. 1-point game here in San Diego. We're about to start the second half. Ron Pitts, John Lynch, and Nichelle Turner. The Redskins started off very slow, but have picked it up. A couple nice drives by Jason Campbell. He's really done a nice job of moving the ball, and they finally got something they haven't had a lot of this year, John, a big play when they hit Malcolm Kelly there in the seam.
Absolutely. You know, we said these guys have a lot to play for. We said in the open they'd play hard for their coach. And Jason Campbell, very representative of a lot of these guys. They're playing for their future. They're new GMs in the audience
house,
today.
Yeah.
And he's 14-19, 189 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's playing good football. And, you know, a lot of these guys are fighting hard. I think, on the other hand, North Turner saw what he wanted to out of his starters. They played with great rhythm. He got him out of there, and the reserves are doing their thing.
This is Rock Cartwright. Cartwright tried to go backside. It wasn't there. He'll shut it down at about the 18-yard line. So we talk about the Redskins, and really, ultimately, it comes back to the quarterback spot, and that's why this is going to be an important offseason for Campbell. What are they going to do? He is a free agent this offseason. You know, the sentiment has been that they have not given him any reason to think he's coming back, but if you look at his skill set, maybe there is a lot of reasons to bring him back.
Well, as I said, I think you can win with him. Is he an elite guy? I don't think so. He hasn't proven that yet, but can you win? I think, first of all, to give him a fair shake, you've got to start rebuilding this offensive line. That's Bruce Allen's challenge, and that's the challenge of, you know, allegedly a new head coach. You've got to go look at the running back position. Clint Portis hasn't been healthy all year. Is he your guy moving forward? I think he gets himself back and healthy. He's still a star in this league.
That ball intended for Fred Davis, but it falls short. The Redskins, a 4-12 finish would be the worst in 15 years, and nobody wants to hear the excuses. You can talk about the 12 guys on injured reserve, and as Jim Zorn told us, we never got the sync or the execution in our offense. We weren't able to stay healthy at the running back spot. And it's all spiraled downhill from there. That's complete. Down to Randall L. Let's go down to Nichelle Turner.
Hey guys, I talked to both coaches at halftime, and Coach Turner told me that he thought his first unit did a very good job of executing, and he got them out, but he is not happy at all with the way that his younger guys are playing. He says they've let the Redskins get away with way too much, and says that he's got to see something better in the second half. Coach Zorn, on the other half, said he's very proud of his team. He said his men are fighting. They ramped it up in the second quarter and started playing faster. He says this second half, they've got to keep tackling well, take advantage of the red zone, and keep executing their short yardage game, and they'll win this game. Back to you.
Thank you, Nichelle. 3rd and 3. Pressure again, and they can't get away from that one coming off the corner. Clean. Marcus Harris. Look at the backflip. When things are going good, they're going good. Harris, the 3rd-string fullback, with the injury today to James Holt, and it's a loss of 6.
Watch Marcus Harris unabated to the quarterback. No one's going to block him, go sack him, and then bust a little backflip out on you. You don't think this guy's athletic?
Look at that.
I think a 10 from the Russian judge gave it a 9.8, but I like that one.
I said fullback, obviously linebacker, and the fair catch called at the 43 by Sproles. Just getting started here in the second half. Rivers, along with most of the starters for the Chargers offense, on the bench. Billy Volek has taken control since the second quarter. You won't see Tomlinson. You see very little of Sproles. Volek in trouble and throws it away. Michael Bennett motions out of the backfield. 2nd and 10. A quick throw. That one knocked away very nicely by Carlos Rogers, the first-round pick out of Auburn back in '05. And here's a look at the first half numbers.
You look at the quarterback rating. We're talking about Jason Campbell playing well. That's about as good as you can get, playing at a high level. As we said, the Washington Redskins competing. Norv Turner very happy with his starters, but as Nichelle Turner said, not so happy with the reserves. I think he's particularly speaking about the defensive players. A lot of missed tackles from those reserves. And as a head coach, you don't like to see that. You want your guys to execute the basics, because that's what this defense is built on, doing the simple things, keeping the ball in front of you and tackling.
Here's where the Chargers have been very good third down situations. No pass rush whatsoever. 3rd and 10. It's dumped down, but well short of the first down. That's Brandon Manomaliuna, the tight end / fullback. And that'll bring on the punt team for the Chargers. And John, the Chargers are quite happy with Billy Volek. You remember Volek back in 2007 came into the playoff game against the Indianapolis Colts when Rivers was injured, took the team down the field, comeback drive, won the game. And coaches always talk about having that second guy. You need a second guy that's got some experience. There's a punt inside the 10. Randall L. With a breakout. There goes Antoine Randall L. And he's chopped down at the 45-yard line. The rookie free agent C.J. Spillman saves the touchdown. Charger defensive coordinator Ron Rivera, in his first full year as defensive coordinator, he took over last year for Ted Cottrell about halfway through the season after a couple years as linebacker coach. When they hired him, they gave him a message. I want this defense to play hard and play fast, and he has done that. There's a handoff to Quinton Ganther. Thrown, caught, catch, and a first down. Just a simple slant there.
You know, you see Jason Campbell.
And he throws it outside. That's to the rookie, Marco Mitchell. Give to Ganther. The Redskins going down the field. Quinton Ganther trying the left side. 3rd and 1. The bootleg. It's there. Nicely executed. Davis is down inside the 10-yard line. So Davis, who's had a couple miscues today, comes up with a big play, but a nice call from upstairs. That's 14 yards and a first.
You see Fred Davis showing that he's blocking and then releasing. And again, I said earlier, a lot of people feel like Fred Davis has Pro Bowl potential. They've got another Pro Bowler in Chris Cooley, who's on injured reserve. All of a sudden, you got Fred Davis out there with the young receivers, Devin Thomas, the Malcolm Kellys. You throw in Santana Moss. A lot of weapons for Jason Campbell to work with.
So 1st and goal. High snap. Campbell rounds it up. Now he's got to find a man. Pump fakes. I believe it was out of bounds when he threw it. And continuing on that point, John, for owner Daniel Snyder and general manager Bruce Allen, there are some things to work with on this team. This is not one of these deals where there is absolutely nothing in the cupboard.
Absolutely, and I think that's why it's attractive to a number of people to come here. I think you get the front office operating correctly. I think there's, as I mentioned, there's some things you have to do. You have to rebuild this offensive line. Chris Samuels is gone. Randy Thomas has been injured. You got to rebuild this offensive line through the draft. You got to find out, is Clinton Portis going to be healthy? If not, draft a running back. As you see, their current running back, Ganther.
Ganther is inside the 5-yard line down to about the 4, a pickup of 6.
But other than that, there's a lot of pieces in place, and obviously the critical decision is Jason Campbell. Is he your guy moving forward? You know, my thought is you can win with him. Again, I keep going back. Is he one of the top 5 guys? Is he a Phillip Rivers? No, but you can win with him. You've got a good defense around him, but that's a decision that Bruce Allen and whoever is the head coach are going to have to make.
3rd and goal for the Redskins. They spread them out, a 3-wide receiver look. Shotgun, 1 man in the backfield along with Campbell. Looking for a quick throw. He hesitates, and that's one thing that Jim Zorn said he has been trying to work out of Campbell. A quarterback in this league, maybe in any league, can never hesitate.
And we talked earlier, the diverse background of Ron Rivera. This is Jim Johnson right here, Philadelphia Eagles. You overload a side, you bring more people than they can possibly pick up, and you get to that quarterback, you cause pressure. Again, I think it's a huge strength. He's worked under Lovie Smith, learned the Tampa 2. He's played for Buddy Ryan, and right there you see Jim Johnson, the late Jim Johnson's influence on Ron Rivera.
You know now, from 22 yards out, so Craig Davis will take it at the 1. Davis hit hard at the 22 down. A throw outside, that's to the big fullback, Tolbert. And Tolbert is wrestled out of bounds at about the line of scrimmage by Rocky McIntosh. Tolbert brought in along with Jacob Hester, who is inactive today, as an attempt to fill the void with the departed Lorenzo Neal, blocked for so many yards for LaDainian Tomlinson. That's Bennett inside, maybe 1 or 2. There's a throw outside, Floyd, and Floyd will be about 2 yards shy. That's Randall Allen, a great tackle by Kasim Osgood, showing why he's going to his 3rd Pro Bowl as a special teamer. 53 yards on the punt, no yards thanks to Osgood on the return. 1st and 10 run, Ganther, and Ganther stopped up. Both teams now subbing in. It looks as though the Redskins will keep most of their starters up front in the offensive line, but the Chargers have brought in their 2s and 3s the rest of the way.
Yeah, you know, and I think for the Redskins, yes, you want to win the football game and do anything possible, but you also want to see some people. So if you start to see them shuffle some players in as well, that's what that's all about. They want to see their players, what they have moving forward.
Steve Gregory, defensive back for the Chargers, he's shaken up, a bad shoulder. Oliver along with Spillman in his place. That ball hit Davis right in the chest, or at least it looked as though it did from here.
You can't blame that one on accuracy. Jason Campbell, you know, hits him in the exact right spot, right in the hands, and Fred Davis, usually sure-handed, you know, drops that. But again, you put Jason Campbell on the move, I think that's where he's very effective. Nice ball by Jason Campbell. Fred Davis needs to catch that one.
We'll bring up a 3rd down and 7. Picked up, he's got time, it's caught, and it's complete for the 1st down. So after the drop, Davis says, come right back to me, he does, and they'll move the chains.
And I like that by Jason Campbell. I think good quarterbacks do that. They have faith in their receivers. They drop one, don't go away from them, go right back to them, try to build up their confidence. Most importantly, try to get a 1st down, and nice job by Fred Davis for getting the last play and executing, catching the ball, and converting a big 1st down.
Cartwright alone in the backfield. He'll get the call. And Cartwright muscles his way for about 4, maybe 5. Ellison on the tackle. John, if there's a criticism of the Chargers all around, it would involve the run game. Stopping the run, running the football. Against the run, on defense, they're ranked 23 in the NFL. And running the ball offensively, they're ranked 29, 3.3 a crack. You mentioned it earlier, that's the lowest in the NFL.
The old school football would tell you, come playoff time, you better be able to run the football, you better be able to stop the run. Those have been issues for this team. You know, again, they feel like with LT healthy, that's going to change in the playoffs. They feel like they've got him ready. They feel like they've been running the ball more often and more effectively. And again, I think, you know, everybody we talked to, including Phillip Rivers, said, listen, this offense starts with the run game. Yes, we're a pass team, but it starts. All our play action is only effective if we can run the ball. He still feels like they get respect just because LT's back there, but you better have this guy, LaDainian Tomlinson, effective. I think it's, you know, it's a question, the one maybe weakness, and you mentioned a great point on defense without Jamal Williams. Are they stout enough against that run?
4 different nose tackles trying to fill the void. Pressure, the throw, but well short of the 1st down. Davis scoops it off the ground. But the pressure was there by the first-round pick this year, number 16 overall, Larry English. And that'll bring up 4th down.
You look at the consistent pressure that these Chargers, no one has the big sack number. Sean Phillips leading with 7 sacks, but they've been getting it consistently from a number of different people, and that's how they've been generating their pressure, and that makes Ron Rivera very happy, and they're going to need that as well come playoff time.
Good decision there by Davis. 17-13 game here in San Diego. The Redskins offense came alive in the second quarter. They got it going a little bit. But going up against the 2s and 3s of the Chargers defense, Ron Rivera, the defensive coordinator, has dialed up some pressure. And it's meant a turnover on downs for the Redskins. They've punted it away. They'll take over. A hot one across the middle, and that's clean. Malcolm Floyd.
And Malcolm Floyd, this guy is a player. I talked to Charlie Joyner before the game. He said this guy could become the best of all of them, along with Nene. You know, 2 guys that are the 3 and 4, saying these guys could ultimately have the highest ceiling.
Yeah.
A.J. Smith and North Turner are sitting there saying, we got a lot of weapons to work with.
And the Hall of Famer there, Charlie Joyner. Talked to Charlie before the season, and I said, do you like any of the guys you got at wide receiver? Talking about the new kids. He said, yeah, we've got a good group, but I'm going to stick to the other ones. We're ready to go right now. And he wasn't kidding. Pump and go. Middle of the field. Went there too often. That's picked off by McIntosh. McIntosh with his 2nd interception of the year. He fumbles it. Now it's picked up by Carlos Rogers. And Rogers gets the ball out close to midfield. But the damage is done. The big interception by McIntosh. McIntosh, a 4-year man out of Miami, 2nd-round pick back in '06. Gamper back to the ground game. John, so much is said about seedings in the NFL, and people are always hot about we've got to get home field if you can get it. If you don't get it, get the first-round bye so you can at least get 1 home game here. I think it's for reasons like what happened back in '06 here with the New England Patriots coming. You want to get good teams at home, especially teams that you've had trouble beating. There's the throw. And Davis about 2 yards shy of the first. 3rd and 2 throw. It's open, but it's going to be short. Randall L. tried to spin inside, couldn't make it. Nice play there by the 2nd-year man out of Arizona, former 1st-round pick, Antoine Cason. So you've got a 4th and 1. Fairly conservative all day, really.
Yeah.
By the Redskins, you know, for the last game of the season.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he thinks he's going for it, Jason Campbell. And Jim Zorn decides to play the field position game. I'll tell you what, if I'm thinking this is my last game, I'm going for it every 4th down. I'm going to get everything I can get out of it.
Play video game football, huh? High kick, fair catch. That's Craig Davis. 1st and 10, Bullock with the interception last series out. Chargers with a 2nd and 11. Play action. Dump down. That's Bennett. Bennett with some room. A lot of room. Michael Bennett close to midfield.
Brought down by London Fletcher.
So a relatively safe play. Ron Pitts, John Lynch, they make big yards out of it. Shape up the opponents for the San Diego Chargers possibly coming in here. What do you think their chances are going to the big one in Miami?
Well, I think regardless who they play, this team has the ability to beat anyone. I mean, I think one thing that you know with San Diego that other teams can't necessarily say is they've got the ability to beat Indianapolis. They've done it 3 of the 4 times that North Turner has played against them as head coach of the Chargers. Very few teams can say that, you know, and that's the road to the Super Bowl likely is going to go through Indy eventually. They have home field, and North Turner has shown that he has the ability to beat those Indianapolis Colts. A lot has to happen before then, and you got to let this thing play out. But, you know, you get there, you got to play great football for 3 weeks. And you see there the Norv's history against the Indianapolis Colts, and for some reason they have their number. A lot has to do with Sean Merriman and his ability to pressure Peyton Manning. And you know, they're hopeful to get Sean Merriman back to some level of health, the healthiest he's been this season. He's
a little nicked up, yeah. 2nd and 4 throw. It's complete to Osgood for the first down. 1st and 10 going deep. It's double covered, and that'll land out of bounds. To give there to Bennett. Arakpo with the tackle. 3rd down play, ball knocked away nicely there by Carlos Rogers. And that's Kading 45 yards out. And this man has been flawless today. Cartwright 2 yards deep. He's got a lane. Gets away from one, squeezes up to the 25-yard line. There's a long throw outside, and Zorn's hot about something. Looked as though he was pointing to the ground like to get the ball down. Santana Moss at 5'10", Sky's about 6'5", and goes and gets it. And a few weeks back, John, Jason Campbell in the paper, he complained about the hits. He said, I've taken a lot of hits. He said, I'm worried about the situation I've been put in. I've been hit so much, it's not even fair. I just call it like it is, quote unquote. Jim Zorn had no love for that comment.
You know what Jim Zorn told us when we asked him about that? He said, wham. I've been there before. Jim Zorn, you know, played up in Seattle, was sacked 44 times, I think a couple times in his career, 44 times or more. He'd been there, and he said he didn't want to hear that out of his quarterback. And you got to respect, you know, whether Jim Zorn can be a great head coach in this league or not, I don't know. Will he get another chance? I don't know. But this guy respects the game and the way it should be played and the way you should conduct yourself.
3rd and inches. Quarterback sneak. Looks as though he's got it. Play action. Quick throw. Good open field tackle there on Davis. Kevin Ellison coming down the pipe. Marcus Mason there with 17 yards. Going outside, incomplete. Intended for Randall L. And Kaysen got a piece of it at the last second. 2nd and 10. Plenty of time. Pump fake. There's the check down we talked about earlier. Getting it to Mason again. And Mason, an interesting guy, originally undrafted for the Skins back in 07. 3rd year in the NFL, but only credited for 1 season because he spent the last 2 seasons on practice squads. Played in his first NFL game, week 2 against the Rams. Was on the Redskins practice squad for a while. Baltimore and the Jets time with their practice squad. Finally getting some run here today, trying to show what he can do in the season finale. 3rd and 3. Campbell in trouble. He's out of the pocket, runs into his own man, but he's got enough for the first down. Looked as though he hit Edwin Williams. Bounces off him, and I do mean bounces off at 320 pounds.
One of the things Jim Zorn said he learned about Jason Campbell is that he can run. He's very mobile. One thing he said he never talks to him about is sliding because he can't slide. You remember the New York Jets and Rex Ryan bringing in Joe Girardi. So they need to bring in whoever the manager for those Washington Nationals is because he struggles with learning how to slide.
Fumble, loose ball. It looked as though Campbell got it, but I'm not sure. They're fighting for it underneath that pile. You talked about this a couple weeks ago, John. You're fighting for a loose football underneath a pile like that. Be careful.
Be careful is right. A lot of stuff goes on down there. And again, the quarterback-sitter exchange should be a basic element of football, but we've seen a lot of teams struggle with it this year. And Jason Campbell, at least if you're going to drop it, you get down and get it. You know, they're approaching field goal range, up by 1. 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Very important drive for these Redskins that are battling, trying to get their 5th win.
13th fumble on the year for Campbell. That's 3rd most in the NFL. Blitz. They see it. They've got the screen. A nice call for a blitz. Davis fighting for the first down. Did he step out? He's got the first, but the question is, did he step out? A marker goes down.
I believe you're going to have a face mask as well. The flag came in late, but there was a face mask in there. That will be a 15 yards added on.
Personal foul, face mask, number 27 to the defense. Half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
Automatic first, and here's another look at it.
It actually happened prior to that, earlier in the play. But Fred Davis, again, many people feel that this guy has Pro Bowl talent. There's the face mask right there by Paul Oliver. This guy has Pro Bowl talent, and you see him with a little screenplay showing his athleticism.
He stepped out of bounds there before the first. I don't think they caught it, but nonetheless a first down. And Davis with 2 big days this year. First day coming week 7 against the Eagles. 8 catches, 78 yards. And against Oakland, 3 for 50. Big on the yards per catch. And that's Sellers. Sellers knocked out of bounds just inside the 10-yard line.
Jason Campbell continuing to impress here today. Now 27 for 37. Very efficient as a quarterback here today. 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Again, we asked him yesterday, you ever think about your future? He said, I try not to, but it's human nature. You do. And what's it going to be? He doesn't know. He said, the one thing I can control is how I play, and he's accounting for himself very well today.
28 of 38 for 281, 2 touchdowns. No interceptions. There's the run outside. Almost got in. Did Mason. He'll take it down to about the 2. Pickup of about 3 yards.
See Jim Zorn, his team, playing impressive football here today. Little short-handed, as are the Chargers with all their starters out. But both teams fighting hard for a victory here at the end of the year.
3rd and 1. Give to Ganther. Ganther stopped immediately. No place to go. A Charger ends up with the football. But Marcus Harris was in there on the initial hit. He may have gotten the first. We'll have to measure.
Tough sled, and you aren't getting much push from your offensive line. Chargers doing a nice job standing up, and it appears as Jim Zorn's keeping his offense out there.
He's straying off the game plan. That game plan has been very regular season-like.
Looks like he's going to call a timeout, let it run down.
A marker goes down, play is stopped.
False start.
Oh, and a false start by Dockery. That changes everything. And the Redskins bring on the field goal unit.
Derek Dockery right here just can't hold his water. That's not the send-off that Joe Bugle wanted.
Boy.
You got to be able to hold your water, and that explains why a team's 4-11. I mean, you do things like that. Your coach makes a bold decision, and Bugle. Are you kidding me?
Bugle lives here in San Diego. The longtime offensive line coach. You don't expect that from a guy who has started every game.
And now they're short of a guy.
And the play clock is down to 7. They've got time, but it'll be a quick snap. There it is. Up, and it's good. Davis trying to jump out of there, and he does. A short kick anyway, but he makes a nice return out of it. So here we go, time winding down. The Redskins, as we said in the open, come out here in full support of their coach, who may or may not be fired. Won't say anything until it's official, Jim Zorn. But they have said we are not going to quit. We want to get them win number 5 this year.
And they haven't. And North so have the Chargers. They got 4 minutes, 25 seconds. Don't need to be in a 2-minute offense. Plenty of time. Just execute a sustained drive.
Play action. Here goes Bullock. Going deep. He's got a man. And he overthrows him. He had Craig Davis wide open up the sidelines.
Watch Buster Davis right here working on D'Angelo Hall. You got to get some sort of reroute. Help that safety out. If I'm the safety, I'm saying, come on, buddy, help me out. Get some hands on the man. But Fred Smoot using that corner speed to get over there, and Billy Volek throwing it just a little too far for Craig Buster Davis.
The swing pass to Bennett. Bennett working inside. A nice pickup. That's close to the 50-yard line. And we were talking about Chris Johnson, one of our MVP candidates there, and he set the record. Marshall Faulk's, eclipsing Marshall Faulk's total yards on a season. To have that many yards, boy, is incredible.
Unbelievable. Marshall Faulk, one of the great players I've ever played against. That's San Diego ties, went to San Diego State University. But for Chris Johnson, I think just an exclamation point on a wonderful season. The success wasn't there early on. They battled back, and he's played spectacular football throughout.
And over 2,000 yards rushing. Throw outside, Davis. He's been there clean all day long. That's a first down and out of bounds.
And this is a situation, you know, North Turner didn't want to be behind in the football game. Regardless he's playing as starters or not, he wants to win. But, you know, North Turner is not necessarily, he's enjoying this situation. You want to put your backup quarterback in pressure situations. Well, here you are. You got 3 minutes and 28 seconds left. You're down by 4. This bodes well for them moving into the playoffs, getting Billy Volek some valuable experience under pressure.
Pickup of 6, Tryon on the cover. Volek throws backside of Tolbert, and Tolbert couldn't get that torso around to make the catch.
See Ronaldo Wynn working on John Runyon, and you either got to step up in the pocket. You can't do that to your tackle. Fortunately, Billy Volek escapes, but a little inaccurate on the throw, sets up a 2nd and 10.
Look at Volek's numbers. He's had the 1 interception. Made a poor decision down the middle of the field. Outside of that, had some big plays. Caught Malcolm Floyd early. Tolbert finally gets the handle. Gets upended about 3 yards shy of the first down. London Fletcher at 34 years old, continuing to pound it away. A pickup of 7.
You watch the young rookie, Arakpo, bring the heat. And that's what this guy's done all year long. Pro Bowl selection, 11 sacks on the year. You got to feel very good about this young man's future. And London Fletcher told you, what a mature young player. What a refreshing feel to have a kid come in who just gets it. He's mature, he studies, and he's a very fine young man as well as being a spectacular football player.
First Redskins defensive rookie to make the Pro Bowl since the merger. 11 sacks coming into today's game. There's a first down, Floyd. Carlos Rogers on the coverage, a pickup of 7. John, that plays on what you were saying about the weapons, so many places to go and spreading the ball around.
Yeah, Malcolm Floyd just playing at a high level. Again, getting the opportunity to be the #1 guy and showing everybody, hey, I'm going to be coming up for a free agent sometime, and I could be a #1 for you.
We're back under the 2-minute warning and a quick game summary. Overall, I think Campbell has been solid. 2 touchdown passes. The quarterback rating, very good. He's had a couple games with that solid rating. And now it's a matter of whether or not the Redskins can hold on to the lead and get the 5th win of the season. Volek throwing that one up. That's usually an interception ball, and it should have been. Tryon will beat himself up all the way back to D.C. for that one.
Yeah, you know, when you want to win football games, the difference between a good season and a bad season, you make a good play on the break, but you got to make a great play and finish the deal. You can't miss the layup.
Yep.
Football coaches always say, watch that ball in. Sometimes there's a reason a guy's a DB, not a wide receiver.
You know that hurts both of us, John.
I know it does.
My partner, John Lynch, the local hero here in San Diego. The Torrey Pines High School product, wrapping up the season. 2nd and 10. And there's a run and a first down. Bennett bringing that experience here in crunch time. And he'll have a big run and a big first down. Dump off Bennett. He's got some room. Bennett down to the 12-yard line. That's what LaDainian Tomlinson said, as there's 2 injured Redskins. Can't quite see that opposite number. I know that's Fletcher slow to get up. That looks like Cornelius Griffin. 2nd and 4. There's a throw, a hit. Did he get in? Yes, no. Down at the 1. One official signaled touchdown, then another one said no, down to the 1.
Beautiful throw by Billy Bullock, but I tell you, these Redskins just don't have any quit. Kareem Moore making a game-saving tackle, setting up the opportunity at least. See Buster Davis, he is short. Nice tackle by Kareem Moore.
That's right, that's Davis. And we've got a booth review. We're under 2 minutes, so it has to come from upstairs. From that angle, John, it looked like he did not get in. That ball's got to touch the white line unless his knee is down first.
Well, let's watch that ball. And that elbow's down. The ball is not in the end zone. I think it's going to be a quick trip to the booth for Jeff Triplett. And setting up, I mean, who would have thunk it? You got a team that's the number 2 seed and a team with everything in the world going on. But we've got a great football game on our hands. 1:08 left. 2016 ball on the 1-yard line. Got a booth review. Everything you want in an NFL football game.
After review, the runner is short of the goal line. The ruling on the field is confirmed. It'll be first down.
Yep, that's what it looked like.
And again, watch that ball. And I believe the elbow is the first part of the body to go down. It's where the ball is and the knee down as well. That ball is short. Good job by Jeff Triplett and his crew. And this is football. January football. Opportunity for a goal line stand, an opportunity for a go-ahead touchdown.
Timeout.
Well, we talked about the Chargers' run game, ranked 29 in the NFL, averaging only 91 yards a game. You want to get better before you head into the postseason. This is a good area to start.
Absolutely. You have to be able to punch it in. You know, people say all the time, I hear experts talking about this is a throwing league. This is a passing league now. Not so fast. You better be able, even the great Patriots team of a couple years ago, when they had to run, you got to be able to execute the run. And that comes in these situations. It comes when you got to put people away late in games. But you better be able to execute the run. It's been a weakness of the Chargers thus far this year. Been getting better. But right here, great opportunity to show we're ready to go into this postseason.
Redskins use their final timeout. So with a score here, they'll have no timeouts heading back down the field. And Dallas taking care of business for the division. Inches for the touchdown. Bennett stopped. He lost yards. Great play in the backfield. Anthony Montgomery, 4-year man out of Minnesota, nice through.
We talk about the 2 starting tackles being out. Well, someone's got to step up, and Anthony Montgomery says, I'm going to be that guy. Look at Anthony Montgomery. There he is right there, shooting through that backfield, dominating, getting in the backfield. That looked like Albert Hainsworth.
Sure did. 2nd and goal, they'll pass it. Out wide open is Tolbert. Touchdown, Chargers.
Norv Turner proud of his quarterback, and these San Diego fans proud of their team. Their starters aren't in. They want to win this football game. And that's kind of, again, representative of the season. You make a great play for Washington, but then you allow the guy to go unmarked to the flat for an easy touchdown.
The lead goes to 3 for the Chargers, and you saw the graphic there. The points being scored by the Chargers, they come in averaging over 28 points per game. That's second best in the NFL next to the Saints.
You look at Tolbert there again, and you know, you never know in these communications who it is. It appears to me that Rocky McIntosh in coverage and drops coverage, and Billy Volek a happy man.
Chargers going for their 11th straight regular season win. That would tie the franchise record set back in 1961, the same year the Chargers were founded here in San Diego after moving down from Los Angeles. And John, we were talking, going back, reminiscing, I guess, about the old Charger days, the Sid Gilman, Air Coryell days of vertical passing game. And Norv Turner said something interesting. He said, you know, this offense is that offense, that vertical game. And right now, Dan Fouts could come in here in about 4 days, could learn everything he needs to know about this offense.
I don't know if he could still drop back and stay upright.
Yeah, I said learn.
Although with Dan Fouts, never the most mobile guy in the world anyway. He just stay in that pocket, shoot darts. I used to sit in this stadium and watch him, but I think that's a beautiful thing about this whole success story with Norv Turner. They've gone back to the roots of Eric Coryell, Ernie Zampese, Fouts to Winslow, Fouts to Joyner, and Wes Chandler, and you know, John Jefferson. It's a neat deal in a lot of ways. First of all, it's productive. Second of all, it's the same offense they were running those years ago.
This is Cartwright. Cartwright hit hard at the 21. Kasim Osgood.
That's why he's going to the Pro Bowl as a special team player.
He wants to go to Miami twice, right? Not to play in the Pro Bowl, but instead play in the Super Bowl.
The life of a returner. You think you're coming through, and whack. C.J. Spillman getting in some of that action as well.
Steve Crosby, the Chargers special teams coach. Boy, it's always fun to talk to him. He's always got a lot to say. He'll keep you fired up. And he appreciates the effort he gets from guys like Osgood, backup wide receivers, continuing to put out their best effort on special teams. No timeouts. That one nearly intercepted by C.J. Spillman.
And remember, just a field goal would tie this thing, so definitely not over as of yet. Out of timeouts, they got to start working the sidelines, but 23 seconds left. There is time. Jason Campbell, if one knock, he's been high on a lot of the throws out of the pocket. And again, right there, high to Santana Moss.
They would look to Gano for a long one. He's their second kicker of the year, replacing Sweesom. Pressure the throw, nearly intercepted again.
And this shorthanded Washington team, having gone through a rough year, have fought extremely hard here today, still in this game.
3rd and 10 goes backside, and it's dropped. Marco Mitchell can't hold on. And a look at the game summary. I mentioned Campbell with a solid day. No interceptions. Look at the red zone. That's been the most positive part, I think. Had the one miscue, John, on special teams. It caused them to call a timeout. And that timeout is haunting them right now.
These are the Chargers that are going to be leading the San Diego franchise into the playoffs. And here we set up a big 4th and 10. 12 seconds left in the game. Last shot for the Washington Redskins.
Going up for it all. And it's gone. And that will do it. The San Diego Chargers, barring some kind of miracle, will tie the franchise regular season win mark with 11 straight wins in the regular season.
You know, the old adage, you want to be playing your best ball, moving into those playoffs. This is a team with an 11-game win streak playing their best football. Today, they got it done with a lot of the reserves. Norv Turner saw what he wanted to see out of his starters, and that was good rhythm. Brought in his reserves, and they brought this game back. They were down a good part of the game, and now Billy Volek gets to do what he's done most of this season, taking kneel down after Philip Rivers has come out of a game.